April 1975. The USS Midway, an aircraft carrier navigating a sea of panic, detected something unusual on radar. The trace was small, erratic, too slow for a jet and too high for a helicopter. At that moment, the Midway's flight deck, a meticulously organized hub, was transformed into chaos. Helicopters crowded the deck, fuel drums lined the steel surfaces, and thousands of lives depended on the ship's operation. America was in the midst of an urgent evacuation from Vietnam, and the carrier became a critical lifeline. Yet now, an unidentified aircraft was approaching, its origin unknown, testing the resolve of the crew. The USS Midway was more than a warship, it was a floating city. Housing 4,500 men, she combined living quarters, working areas, and combat readiness under one enormous steel structure. Born from 5 years of design work, she was conceived to merge the toughness of a battleship with the air power of a carrier capable of launching over 120 aircraft. Engineers overcame unprecedented challenges in weight, balance, and armor to bring her to life. From blueprint to launch, Midway epitomized American industrial might. Though commissioned too late for World War II, she emerged as a marvel, 295 meters long, displacing nearly 60,000 tons, bristling with guns, and powered by 212,000 horsepower, ready to dominate the Pacific. As the Cold War dawned, the Navy sought to test Midway's limits. In late 1946, she was sent to the Arctic for Operation Frostbite. A carrier built for tropical seas faced sub-zero conditions, with freezing spray forming layers of ice on the flight deck. Sailors hacked relentlessly to keep it safe for aircraft. Catapults strained, arrestor cables stiffened, and every takeoff meant battling a slick frozen surface. Despite the punishment, Midway proved capable of Arctic operations. Ryan FR-1 Fireballs, hybrid piston and jet aircraft, launched into gray skies, while HOS-1 helicopters practiced rescues from icy waters. In September 1947, Midway hosted Operation Sandy, testing a captured German V-2 rocket. Only her immense steel flight deck could withstand the launch. At 60,000 tons, she supported the rocket safely, sending debris harmlessly into the ocean during the test. The launch's partial failure confirmed her resilience, demonstrating that Midway was ideal for risky experiments in the missile age. By 1952, the Navy confronted the jet era. Piston engines were giving way to heavier, faster aircraft, and Midway needed to adapt. She joined Operation Mainbrace in the North Atlantic, testing whether a World War II carrier could survive alongside modern jets. Her performance proved that Midway could remain relevant, bridging the gap between old and new naval aviation. In Operation Mainbrace, Midway faced the ultimate test of jet compatibility. Over 200 ships and 1,000 aircraft from the US, Britain, Canada, Denmark, and Norway participated in simulated attacks and defenses. Jets like Panthers, Banshees, and Sky Raiders tested the carrier's deck, challenging her with heavier loads and faster speeds than propeller aircraft ever demanded. Landing mishaps threatened collisions, prompting a British innovation: the angled deck. By adjusting the landing area slightly off the ship's axis, Midway gave pilots extra room to recover from miscalculations. The experiment succeeded, setting the stage for future carrier designs. Following this, she was reclassified CVA-41, officially an attack carrier designed for jets. In December 1952, she sailed on a global tour, demonstrating her reach from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean. Midway's presence reassured allies and warned adversaries of America's naval capabilities. During the Taiwan Strait crisis in 1955, she supported the evacuation of the Takan Islands. Thousands of nationalist troops and civilians scrambled to transports, while her aircraft patrolled overhead, projecting U.S. power without firing a single shot. Midway had become more than a ship. She was a strategic symbol of American resolve in the emerging Cold War. By the mid-1950s, the jet age demanded upgrades. Midway entered Puget Sound Naval Shipyard under the SCB-110 program. Her flight deck was rebuilt and widened by 64 feet to accommodate larger jets. Steam catapults replaced hydraulic ones, designed to launch supersonic aircraft. Arresting gear was reinforced to handle heavier landings. Elevators were enlarged, hangar bays reconfigured, and workshops expanded to service advanced engines and avionics. Bomb magazines were updated for conventional and nuclear ordnance, while a permanent angled flight deck improved pilot safety. By 1957, Midway had transformed, emerging as a broad, powerful carrier ready to face new challenges. Midway's first combat role came in March 1965. She launched strikes into North Vietnam, deploying F-4 Skyhawks, F-4B Phantoms, and A-1 Skyraiders. Pilots navigated rivers, rice paddies, and dense anti-aircraft defenses to target bridges, radar sites, and supply depots. The AGM-12 Bullpup missile made its debut, guided by a pilot's joystick into hardened targets. Encounters with MiG-17s tested the carrier's air wing in aerial duels. The first confirmed air victories came when Commander Louis Page and Lieutenant John C. Smith downed 2 MiGs. Despite losses from anti-aircraft fire, Midway returned home in November, having demonstrated her ability to sustain high-tempo jet operations in hostile waters. By 1966, heavier jets and faster engines necessitated further modernization. Midway underwent the SCB-101.66 program, expanding the flight deck from 2.8 to 4 acres and increasing the landing angle to 13.5 degrees. Elevators were strengthened, steam catapults upgraded, and arresting gear reinforced. Hangars were reorganized, workshops expanded, and fuel systems upgraded. Recommissioned in 1970, she was taller, heavier, and more powerful than ever. However, rough seas made takeoffs and landings hazardous, leading to further hull and stability adjustments. These upgrades, though costly, solidified Midway as a carrier capable of projecting U.S. air power globally. April 1975 saw South Vietnam collapsing. Midway was at the forefront of Operation Frequent Wind, evacuating Americans and South Vietnamese allies. Hueys crowded with civilians landed on her deck, while crews pushed helicopters overboard to clear space. Major Bong Lai's Cessna 01 Bird Dog, carrying his family, made a miraculous landing after the deck was cleared of obstacles. Midway became a lifeline for thousands, demonstrating her flexibility and strategic importance. By the mid-1980s, she had been forward deployed in Japan for over a decade, adapting continuously to new aircraft and operational demands, earning the nickname Rock and Roll Carrier for her challenging flight deck. Midway's final years saw action in Operation Desert Storm, 1991, launching F/A-18 Hornets, A-6 Intruders, and EA-6B Prowlers in large-scale strikes across Kuwait and Iraq. She coordinated thousands of sorties, demonstrating that even an aging carrier remained indispensable. Later, she participated in humanitarian missions, evacuating over 20,000 people during Mount Pinatubo's eruption in the Philippines. After 47 years of service, facing technological advancements and aging systems, USS Midway was finally decommissioned in San Diego. She left behind a legacy of innovation, resilience, and decades of naval history, a testament to the courage and dedication of all who served aboard her.